Hi, in this lecture we will talk about loops. So let's start with the increment and decrement operators. So we can use this increment operators plus plus after the variable name. So value plus plus is the same as value equal to value plus 1. We can also have plus plus value or value plus plus. If they are in one line alone as a one statement, they are the same. But in other situations they can be different. The minus minus is called the decrement operators, and the same like value equal value minus 1. Again, we can use minus minus value or value minus minus. So here is example. We define variable with a value 4, and then we use the variable is called num. We use num plus plus. So when we print it, it will be printed as a 5. If we make plus plus num, it will become 6. If we make num minus minus, it will become again 5, and minus minus num, it will be again 4. So 4, 5, 6, 5, 4. So plus plus and minus minus can be used in complex statement, not only in one statement alone. So let us take some example. For example, we use the plus plus in a print statement in cout. So in this case, it's different between value plus plus or plus plus value. So again, if they are one statement alone, there is no difference between value plus plus and plus plus value. But if they are as a part of print statement or a part of equation, then it makes a difference. For example, here cout value plus plus means I will print value first. After I print value, the old value, I will add 1 to this value. So value was 12. So I will print 12, and then I will make value to be 13 after printing. But if it was plus plus value, then I will add first 1 to value. So value previously is 13. I will add 1 to value, it will be 14, and then I will print the new value of val. So I'll print 14. Same like num equal minus minus value. So num we will store in num. We will decrement value first, and then we will store this value in num. Here we will store the old value of val in num, and after that we decrement it. So we can also use it in some expression like this, like result equal to num plus 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 minus minus num2. So this means we add 1 to num, we use the old value of num1, we add it to the value of num2 after we decrement it, and the result we store to result. But after we finish from this, we add 1 to num1 because there is plus plus after num1. We cannot do something like this, num1 plus num2 in parentheses and then plus plus. This cannot be done in C++. This is not allowed. This is allowed in C++, and to make like a relational expression. But here num plus plus num is different from num plus plus. So the situation can be true or false, depends on the numbers, but they can be different from plus plus num to num plus plus. So let's now talk about the while loop. While loop is a loop. If you want to repeat some statements for many times, you use loops. One of the famous loop statements is the while loop. We use while, and then we have expression, like can be true or false, and then we have some statement. The statement can be one statement. In this case, we don't need to make a block, braces, or it can be a block. In this case, you have to make some brackets, these braces. So while expression do statement, so we will check the expression. If it's true, we do the statement. After we finish statement, we check the expression again. If it's true, we do the statement, and so on till the expression is false. We will skip the statements. So this is how it working. So this is the flow chart. This is expression. If it's true, we do this statement. If not, we just skip the statements. And if it's true, we do the statement and check the expression again and again and so on till the expression is false. So here is example of the while loop. We initialize the number to 1. While number is less than or equal 5, we do some statements. We print hello and then we increment the number. So this will print hello 5 times because in the last time number will be 6 and this condition will be false, so we will skip while and print that's all. So this is the test condition expression and this is the statements, the body of the while loop, and after we finish the body we have to check the condition again. So this is flow chart. If number is less than or equal 5, if this is true, then you need to print hello and add 1 to number and then go back, check the condition again, continue in the loop unless it's until it's false, so you skip these statements and continue. So the while loop is called pre-test loop because first we check the condition and then we go to the body. So that's why it's called pre-test loop, because we do the test before. So for example, if in this code the number is 6, this condition is false, so it will skip these statements. So when it skips this statement, the body will not be executed, will be executed 0 times, yeah, because the condition was first from the beginning, and can happen, yeah. So we need to take care that the expression should contain, or the loop body should contain something to make the expression false, because otherwise if the expression is true all the time, it will be infinite loop and it will repeat forever. For example, this code, number is 1, while number is less than or equal 5, this is true, 1 is less than or equal 5, so we'll print hello and then we check the condition again, nothing changed number, so number is still 1, 1 is less than or equal 5, it's true, so it will repeat forever. So this is normally not nice or not good. So while loop can be used for validation. Let's take example using the while loop for input validation. So we inspect the data and we can make sure that the data entered by the user is valid. So the while loop can be used to repeat until the user enters a valid data. For example, how we can do that? We read one item from the input, we ask the user for input. While the input is not valid, we make error message and we ask the user again to re-input the value and repeat. So we repeat till the user enter a correct value, then we go out of the loop. So let us take example. We ask the user to enter a number less than 10. We ask the user to enter the number. If the number is greater than or equal 10, then we print invalid entry, and again we ask the user to enter a number less than 10 and we make cin for the number. And then we check the condition again. If it's still greater than or equal 10, we repeat. We print invalid entry and we ask for a new input, and so on. So this is nice because it's kind of validation. We keep asking the user to enter the correct value if the value is not correct. So here is the flow chart. We ask for the value. We check the condition if it's invalid. If yes, we display error message and we ask for another input and continue. If the input is not invalid, if it's a correct input, we just continue. So here is some example of validation loop. So we ask the team of the team players. We ask the user how many team players. If it's less than the minimum players or greater than the maximum players, we print error message and we ask for the input again and we loop. After that, we ask how many players are available. If it's less than 0, which is invalid input, then we print this is invalid, you should make 0 or more, and then we ask the user again, and this will loop until the user enter a correct number of players. So counters, sometimes when you use a loop you should use a counter. A counter is a variable that is incremented or decremented each time the loop repeats. So sometimes we call it control, to control the loop, and we call such loop control variables. And this variable must be initialized giving initial value before entering the loop. Let us take example. Imagine you want to run a loop 10 times, okay? So your initial counter called num, you initial to it 1 with minimum number, but it can be 1. And then inside the loop, while number is less than 10, less than or equal 10, what we do, we print something, we do something, and then we increment num to be 2. So it was 1, then it will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, till it reached the maximum number, which is 10. So we use this variable to control the loop. We want 10 times, we can use this variable to control the loop because we make the expression based on this counter. So this will print 10 times the number and the square of this number. So there is something called do while. It's another statement to do loops. So we have while and we have do while. Do while is called post-test loop because it checks the condition after the block. So it's execute the loop and then test the expression. So how it's written, we write do. If it's one statement, we don't write brackets, but if it's more, we write do brackets. And at the end of the block, we write while expression and semicolon. So here we have semicolon. In the normal while, we don't have semicolon. But if we have do while, you have to make semicolon at the end of while. Okay. So how is it working? First, you go to the statement before checking the condition, and at the end, you check the condition. If it's true, you repeat the statement and the condition, and so on. If it's false, you go on. So check this example. X is equal to 1. We do cout x while x is less than 0. So this condition is false, but although it's false, this block was executed 1, right? So do while, at least you need to execute the block once because you check the condition after that. So this is example to compute the average. So we ask the user to enter score 1, score 2, score 3. We compute the average, we print the average, and we ask the user, do you want to compute another average? If he say yes, y capital or y small, then we repeat. So we do these things, and at the end we check if the user want to repeat again or not. If he want to repeat again, if this condition is true, he enter y capital or y small, we repeat, and so on. So this is the output of the previous example. So the do while loops always execute at least once. As we mentioned, the body has to be executed once, at least, even the condition is false. And the execution continue as long as the expression is true. Stop the repetition when the expression becomes false, same as while. And this is usually useful in menu-driven programs. Sometimes it's helpful to use do while. So that's it all for today. Next video we'll talk about for loop, and see you in the next video.